Hello, everyone. This is Sling County Hardliners. I'm Keith Kellum.
And this is Kevin Bradshaw.
We're bringing you a conservative agenda, kind of from a grassroots perspective. The things we'll be talking about are issues in our county, which are pretty much the same issues that are haunting our great state of Arkansas and the nation as a whole.
Like the porn in the library, securing our border, and challenging the current leadership not doing their job.
Sling County it's a deep red county. It's just southwest of Little Rock. The county seat's Benton. The population is about 130,000 people. The people, they're about 75% Republican here. And I'd say about out of those Republicans, about 60% of those are hardline Christian America First types. And out of that 130,000 populace, about 70,000 are 70,000 are registered voters, and about 30% of that are active voters.
Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to start this show. We want to get to that other 70%, that other 30% of active voters, and get them out there and turn out too.
Meaning there's about 20,000 voters on a good election day here. Arkansas, it's a deep red state as far as the citizens go, but like in other states, it's you still got that old guard establishment Republicans, and some of them are Republicans in name only, like rhinos, that still want to hang on to the old guard and basically run the states and the country and not include the people, which I think is one of our big problems, don't you?
I do.
This is our struggle with the current Republican Party of Arkansas, which affects each and every county. Kevin and I are both active members in the Sling County Republican Party, and we were both state delegates from the county at the recent RPA state convention, which was June 8th of this year. 2 years ago, the Patriots and the MAGA Republicans pretty well took over our county, and basically the same folks in other counties in the state did the same thing pretty much. So this has created a heck of a turmoil. RPA is not happy, and when they took over, at the state convention, they just wanted to make their own rules because finally this year we have taken over.
Mm-hmm. And they were not too happy at the convention. They were beside themselves. Yeah.
I mean, the convention lasted, what was it, how long? From 10 in the morning till about 10:30 at night. We got kicked out of our room and had to go into a smaller room. And, of course, all this was pre-planned. Yeah.
Well, they planned on, from what I heard, they were trying to cut the committee about 3 in the afternoon. And then they had to do the whole thing where they kicked us out because it wasn't going their way.
Right.
So we had to go to that smaller room. Luckily, Miss Lancaster had booked us another room.
Right. We kind of outlasted them. They finally left, and one of the rules, the committee, a certain person on the rules committee of the RPA, which is an old hand, basically said we didn't have the institutional knowledge. These are the delegates like Kevin and I, and we actually have 55 delegates out of Sling County, and he was and none of them were officials this year. which normally you'll have all the representatives and that are in the county and the senators and state senators. We got a couple of those in the county that take over. So, they didn't like that at all. And I guess what they call institutional knowledge is that we weren't trained delegates, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, pretty much we weren't trained delegates. That's the thing is, they want to hold power and not actually provide the knowledge, the institutional knowledge for us to, one, grow in the party and grow the party.
Right.
They kind of want to keep it a small group and just keep it all to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They like to control what goes on in the government. Not really. They don't have a we the people attitude, which is nationwide people are sick of this crap. They want to have their voice heard. It's not being heard. Well, folks, news flash. It's not the way the forefathers had planned all this. So they're afraid we're going to go too far right and not negotiate with the Democrats. Well, when did the Democrats start negotiating? I mean, I've been watching politics for all my life, and I've never seen Democrats negotiate. That's not in their DNA.
Now, normally it's Republicans trying to pull them back across the line, saying, no, let's slow down a little bit. But no, it's always, you guys slow down and we'll make a deal on it. And it's Democrats like, no, we're just going to go full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm. Because it's meant to be us, not the big donors, the lobbyists and the big donors. They want to run things, and they don't give nothing about what the people truly want.
It's all about money.
Yep. I mean, you get politicians that ignore the common people, and we don't have the luxury of not paying our taxes when we don't want something. When we're pissed off about something, we don't have that luxury of saying, okay, you're going to spend your own money on that, I'm not paying. Well, we can't do that,
Well, I think the IRS would show up at our house if we did that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the way they got them now, armed, loaded for bear, in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's like they're concerned about that for some reason.
Yeah, this all has to stop. I mean, it's out of control all over the country. It's exactly why we're about to lose our country.
Yeah, recent news is not inspiring right now.
No. On June 8th at the RPA State Convention, there were some big changes, though. We got closed primaries, which that's going to have a big effect because you're going to have to be a registered Republican to vote in the Republican primary. Too many Democrats are voting in our primary because everyone's optional. Well, it doesn't really matter. When you go vote, you say whether you want to vote in the primary, whereas you say whether you want to vote Republican or Democrat. So when you do that, except for nonpartisan races, you have to vote all Republican, all Democrat. Now, general election, it doesn't matter. You mix it, and the closed primaries will have nothing to do with that because a lot of people think, well, I don't want to always vote Republican in the general election. Well, you don't have to. It has nothing to do with the general election. So it'll make registered Republicans run for as a Republican candidate, and you can't just go in there and just decide. You have to be, I don't know the time frame, but you're going to have been a Republican more than just go in there and run, do your filing fee and change to that party. You won't be able to do that. You'll have to already be in the party.
So you can't just go in there, scribble R by your name?
No. I'm thinking, well, I don't want to say because I don't know what the rule is going to be, but it's probably going to be you're going to have like an election before you're going to have to be that party or within a year and all that. So that everybody really needs to start changing in Saline County, that is, or in the state. They need to start going to the county clerk, and all they have to do is go to the county clerk's office and tell them they want to change, or they need to check. If they're not Republican and they want to be Republican, they need to change from optional to Republican, because you're either optional, Republican, or Democrat. So another change was choosing the delegates from the common members and not the politicians. I think they're going to get an extra 2 delegates that are just members rather than the forced in politicians, because some politicians automatically can become delegates. And also another one was this last convention was the first convention that I know of where they had it in Northwest Arkansas, which is your Fayetteville, Springdale area, Washington, Benton County. Okay, those 2 counties, they're not real on the MAGA deal yet. They're not the America First. I'm not saying there's a lot of good people up there that are, but it's not dominant. They're still running the show up there. It's not like Saline County. Pulaski County is pretty much there too with us, and because we got some good leadership out there, Lori Justice, who's the chairman. She's had a lot to do with the changes in that county, and then your district congressional chair ladies that are Sarah Dunklin in District 1, and then our own Jennifer Lancaster in District 2 have had an enormous amount of influence in getting us,
amount of influence.
Yes, and getting us on track with a more conservative agenda. And also, I happen to be, back to what I was going to say. Lost track.
Yeah,
I had a Biden moment there. Okay.
you know the thing.
Anyway, so what I was saying was, this is the first time it was in Northwest Arkansas. Well, that causes a lot of problems because here you are. Okay, Little Rock's the state capital. It's always been in Little Rock or within a vicinity of Little Rock, which is a central location of the state, and everyone, it's easier access.
Yeah, everyone has to go down to Little Rock. It's the center of the state.
Yeah, you can almost go and come back home. Well, in Northwest Arkansas, we had to have people. I stayed over the weekend because, well, I could have drove home, but that's kind of tough, especially for. Okay, Kevin, what time did you get home?
Well, I got home at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I live out in Sardis, and I had to go get on a bus at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and we drove over 4 hours to get there. Which, if everyone was it was in Central and Little Rock, everyone would just have to drive like 2 hours to get there at least.
Oh, yeah, at least 2.5, I would say. Yeah, I mean, if you live in Northwest Arkansas, you were there. But as you went further south, you could have as much of a 6-hour drive.
Yeah, pretty much. It was ridiculous.
So
I had to go home. So I had to drive to Little Rock. That's already like a 45-minute drive from Sardis all the way up to North Little Rock. And then I had to get on a bus and drive for even more, another 4 hours. So that's ridiculous.
They bust Kevin in.
I want to thank the guys who got the bus going. I appreciate that.
But so when it's in Central Arkansas, no one has really more than a 2.5-hour drive.
Exactly, and that's more fair.
But they did it to try to isolate these primarily Saline and Pulaski County. I guess they thought that, well, you'll have a lot of delegates not show up if they have to go that far. Well, we made liars out of them there on that. So, but anyway, the other rule we made, whereas from now on the state convention cannot be more than 35 air miles from the capital. So their little 2024 Northwest Arkansas game is not going to work anymore. But coincidentally, I am running. I'm the Saline County Republican nominee for District 4 of the Quorum Court, and I do have an opponent coming up in November. But I'm probably in one of the more rural districts in the county, and which it's probably 80. I would say my district. Kevin and I are in two different districts.
I'm in District 1, and he's in District 4.
Excuse me. His is pretty rural too, but mine's really rural because it has like Perrin, Lake Norrell, most of northeast Saline County, and yours is more probably east.
It's more East End and Sardis area.
Yeah.
Maybe Bauxite.
But take it for what it's worth. Usually Republican wins in that district, to be honest. I mean, unless something crazy happens, like I said, it's 80% people who just vote straight Republican. But now I had 4 people I was running against, which included the incumbent who had been there 20 years. And so I was able to beat her. Well, me and her went into a runoff, and then I was able to beat her with a lot of help from the Saline County Republican Committee and friends of mine and family and a bit of money.
There's always money in politics.
Yeah, I didn't know how much. And but a lot of it was I knocked on there's probably 1,000 voters. I probably knocked on 800 doors. And every one of them, I told them my platform. I didn't hide anything from them. And I told them I wanted to stay in touch because most people don't even know what's going on in the county. They don't even know what the quorum court is or the county judge, which we'll go into that in another show. But it's different than any other state.
What is your platform, real quick?
I am for the going back to the paper ballots myself. The county as a whole, the quorum court as a whole is not. So there is right now an active petition to get it on the county ballot for November, just the county of Saline County. And so anybody out there that has not signed the petition that'd be interested need to find one. They're all around the place. We're out there trying to get signatures.
And we got paid canvassers this time, and we followed the law and actually got it signed off.
Yeah, because they just threw out the abortion. Well, the Secretary of State threw out the abortion amendment, which got all the signatures, but I don't remember the exact problem they had with it.
So there's a law from Mike Beebe that pretty much says that you have to register your paid canvassers.
And they didn't. Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Or they did too late. I think they want to now, but it's over with.
Yeah,
so anyway, they're out at the state capitol every day, probably out there. They're throwing witchcraft spells on the governor and the Secretary of State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're like, I got voodoo dolls and all this crap. You know, that's where we're coming from with the abortion, with the pro-abortion folks. That's the kind of thinking you get out of those people. They're nuts.
Well, yeah, or just demonic.
That too. I've seen that. And I really didn't know there was that much going on here till we started with the library issue, with the porn in the library. And that's another story. That's one we're going to hit. And
I'm going to hit that.
Which I don't think the quorum court is moving near fast enough for that. That's a no-brainer to me. So that's another thing that I am going to push if it's not resolved is to nip that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm even for cutting their money if they're not going to cooperate, because people don't want to pay for these books. The county shouldn't have to pay for these books. Any county in the country shouldn't pay for these books. You know, if they want their kids to have these library books or just these pro-LGBTQ books, you know what? They're on the internet. They can buy them anytime they want to.
Well, it's not just pro-LGBTQ. It's actually pedophilia.
Yes.
It's
incest,
it's disgusting.
too.
There's picture books of it. There's teenage novels of it. If you ever get a chance, go to SeleneLibrary.com. It's on there. I'll put a link in the video whenever I get this thing edited. But it'll tell you every single one of the books that they've seen in the libraries. Like, let's see, there's genderqueer. There's what's this? The haters. There's the V word. There's all sorts of just crazy stuff in here. And you can go on to SeleneLibrary.com and actually see the books that we're talking about.
Yep, they're there, and some people don't care, but I think the general public does. Most people have heard about it. I don't know how many people have actually seen this smut. It was so bad that when we started going to quorum court meetings to argue about to try to get these books out, which I'll say the not Supreme Court. The quorum court, on the whole, is against it. I mean, they all voted to get them out of there. And there's been some, Clint Chisholm was real vocal on it. But the problem I had was they fired the director, but then they get another director that's just as bad as her. And I don't, a lot of people applied for it, but I don't know why you picked the same thing you got. You're going to have to get somebody that cares about getting that stuff out of there.
Well, that's why we need to actually, one show we plan on doing is I want to get someone in here who knows a lot more about the library. And I want to actually get some of these books in here on this show, and I want to show you some of these books.
Right.
Whether I get censored or not, we're going to show some of them books.
Yeah, because they wouldn't let you read them at the quorum court because they're too bad. So if they're too bad to read in the quorum court, why would you have them in schools? I mean, the schools have them available too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're in the schools.
I don't know the details on that, but that's really for the school board to take up and take care of that. But if and when I'm on the quorum court, I still have to be elected. I'm going to be pushing, and I think I can get some support on this from some other members to quit dilly-dallying around and get rid of this crap.
And one of the other things that's a problem is there's a lot of people wanting to get these books out of there. They make you do book reports on these books.
Yeah.
A lot of good Christian folk, they want to have to read this smut just to get it out. So they have to read the smut, and then they have to do a book report on it. And then you're like, we need at least some warning labels on these books. That's another thing, is we need warning labels on these books. Yeah,
there's people on that board that they support it. I don't know who or how many, but they're not fighting. I mean, they don't even read the books when they want people that don't like them to read them, but they don't read them before they buy them. So they're just going by actually, the ALA, the American Library Association, is a terrible association. That's another thing I would do. We need to disaffiliate with them, and that's not an unusual thing because the state can even do it. And I think maybe we may get someone to start working on that. But they're very woke, and they're pushing this stuff. But we don't have to have them. Alabama, I believe I read, where they disassociated with them, and we would save some money. They say, well, they're the ones that are educated and know how to present, books to children and pick the right ones. Well, I don't buy that. I don't buy it at all.
Well, it's parents that need to, step up and actually start seeing what their kids are watching and, reading and all this stuff. You need to start managing what your kids are watching.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But I want to say that we lost a JP, Justice of the Peace, the other day, who I've known for years. Our sons played football together from middle school to high school, so I knew him through that way, not through the quorum court. But he was a fine man. His name was Everett Hatcher. He was the Justice of Peace for District 2 for the past 9 years. He succumbed finally to cancer, but he stayed on that. He stayed solid with the quorum court the whole time he was, basically dying. And anyway, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family because it's a great loss. He was a good man and a servant of the county, and I think everybody needs to give their prayers and concerns that these people can get through this. And the other thing, this was a kind of two bad things happened this week. The other thing we can talk about, Kevin, give a take on Donald Trump being attempted assassination. This was just
yesterday.
Just yesterday, yeah. And that's an awful suspicious looking thing to me. I don't know. I mean,
well, there's all sorts of things coming out of the woodwork. The main rule is we always give a few days to get all the information out. We don't want to assume anything, but anything we say right now is just our opinion. It ain't completely fact checked until it's fact checked. So
yeah, apparently they got the guy, but and thank God there was an angel on Donald Trump's shoulder that protected him, because I mean, if he had not moved his head
at just the right time,
and I'm talking less than a second, millisecond, he wouldn't be with us right now.
No,
because they had a headshot on him. I mean,
they nicked his ear. He's got 2 scars right here and right here, and one of them nicked his ear.
Yeah, I think he probably is missing part of his ear. I bet they haven't said that, but it looked like it from the pictures. But you know what? That's a tough old guy.
Oh yeah, he got up. There's a Twitter video of him getting up and going playing golf this morning.
Really? Mm-hmm. I didn't see that. And him waving the fist. I want a T-shirt with that. Him waving his fist. He's got the blood coming across here. I mean, this guy is stout.
Oh man, everyone's on there saying he won. Now he's got it in the bag. Well,
they're going to help his numbers. I mean,
that's going to help his numbers. But yeah,
but
it ain't over yet. No, they still got him. They got to get him. Is what they're going to try to do.
He's going to the convention tomorrow. The RNC convention is tomorrow, which our old friend Keith Moore is one of the delegates, national delegates from Saline County, who I'm going to try to get on the show after he gets back and talk to us about this RNC, because right now I don't know how it's going to end up.
Well, they better get better security because I guarantee you they're going to either try again, and if they don't try again they're going to go after Joe Biden. I guarantee you Joe Biden's going to get an assassination attempt on him. They're going to try and blame it on Republicans.
They could. I mean, because, we got Trump almost assassinated, and we got, 4 more months till the election. We got 6 more months till the inauguration. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have an interesting 6 months coming up here. It's going to be real interesting because you got Biden, who may not even be on the ticket.
I don't see how they get rid of him.
No, they got to talk him into it. And
well, old Jill Biden and his son are, they're fighting. It's like, you got to stay in.
They don't want to lose their party going on. They don't want to lose their money in their Air Force One and all their just the whole limelight of being first lady and a twisted son of the president.
Mm-hmm. And there's always
his cocaine money. He's got his cocaine money. He got to get out of there.
Well, they got rumors floating around. They're going to try and put Michelle Obama in there.
Weird. I've heard that, but not lately. Don't tell me that.
Oh, that's what they're trying to do. Obama's behind the scenes trying to talk Joe into a step down, so they put Michelle in there.
Well, I heard they're going to put Harris, which if they're going to, I'd rather them see it put Harris. She's easier to beat.
Mm-hmm. There's also talk of Clinton being her VP.
Hillary?
That's just rumors.
Another criminal.
They're all criminals.
Yeah. I don't know. But we're going to try to entertain you a little bit with these shows. And like I said, excuse me, we're going to have guests. Normally we'll have guests. I'm going to try to get like Candy Cox to talk about the abortion. She's with ABBA Christian Adoption Agency, and she knows all about that. And Keith Moore, our RNC delegate, who is he's going to have quite of an adventure for the next 3 days up there. He's going to see a lot of things go down firsthand. He's going to be in the middle of history is what he's going to be in. Mm-hmm. I mean, realistically, because, they're going to have a lot of protests.
Oh, yeah.
Protesters at both conventions. And I'm sure they're going to have, they've stacked the security up, quadrupled the security since what's happened. Because O'Donnell, he going to be there with a bandage on his ear.
Mm-hmm.
Saying the heck with y'all. Y'all want to try? Come on,
Yeah, going to have a big old bandage right here, and ear mocked up.
I got my hat on today in support. That's the least I can do. But we'll see what happens in the next few days. But I don't know. That's pretty much what we got today, I believe, isn't it?
That's all we got for now. I'm pretty sure we'll have other shows. We'll have plenty of other topics.
Yeah.
We're going to try and make this video a lot better. And
if you watch Dave Ellswick, I'm gonna try to get old Jimmy Cabin on here too.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, and then some other folks. We know some other folks we can get on here. Yeah, people like to talk and are professionals and really know about these different subjects.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jimmy Gavin, he's a hoot.
Oh yeah. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. But anyway, that's about all we got today. It's Saline County Hardliners, and I appreciate all y'all listening in.
Appreciate you guys. Hardliners out.
All righty. Bye-bye.